the checkered flag is out. Lando Norris will like to go into the top 10. I'm sure goes third fastest. Does rather well as Leclerc sets the fastest first sector and middle sector time. Kimi Räikkönen, whose seat Leclerc is now in from last year. Kimi Räikkönen crosses the line, goes 8th fastest. Carlos Sainz goes up into 12th, pushes Giovinazzi down into the bottom 5. Here comes Giovinazzi now to cross the line, and he goes 3rd. Danny Kvyat's at risk, but he can do something about it as he crosses the line now and goes 4th. And the times are going faster and faster, and they're all coming tumbling down. Now Daniel Ricciardo is at risk as well, but he's out on the track at the moment as Nico Hülkenberg goes 5th fastest. Charles Leclerc can go quickest and does by 2/100ths of a second. First time Ferrari have been fastest all weekend long. Magnussen goes into the top 6, pushes Sainz into the bottom 5 for McLaren. Big disappointment. George Russell stays in the bottom 2, only 19th fastest. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo. Where's he going to be? 12th fastest, but should be enough. Alex Albon next to try and get out of the bottom 5, and does so, and pushes Lance Stroll by 5/100ths of a second down into the bottom 5. Gasly for Red Bull, 17th fastest, and Lance Stroll out too.
Another little tap there for Kubica, but yeah, that's a shocker. Gasly 17th, Sainz 18th, and across the grass in turn 11 goes Robert Kubica in the Williams. Self-inflicted damage, and the tyre disintegrated on its way down to the fastest part of the track.
Kevin Magnussen crosses the line, 6th fastest for Kevin Magnussen. 1:22.2 should be good enough to get him into Q3, I would imagine. Hamilton goes fastest overall, brand new all-time lap record of a 1:21.0 here in Albert Park as Grosjean goes into the top 5. And we look at Lando Norris next to cross the line. Norris over the line now, goes 9th. At the moment, he's in Q3 on his debut. Antonio Giovinazzi will be next to cross the line. We're on board in the Alfa Romeo now. Can he get himself into the top 10? Not quite. Only 13th fastest. Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Ricciardo right in that elimination zone battle as we turn now to Danny Kvyat. Wouldn't it be great for him on his return to Toro Rosso? I was going to say to get into the top 10, he doesn't, only 14th. Ricciardo can't get into the top 10, misses out by 8 milliseconds as Bottas, 2nd fastest, doesn't improve. Alex Albon next across the line goes 12th, ahead of his teammate Danny Kvyat, out-qualifies Kvyat on his Formula 1 debut. Perez goes into the top 10 and kicks out his former teammate at Force India, Nico Hülkenberg. The two Renaults, Hülkenberg and Ricciardo, both miss out on Q3. They were meant to be, after testing, the 4th best team. That has not happened here today in qualifying.
Yes, both Renaults out. Bit of a shocker there. Lando Norris in. Once again, the outstanding lap, I would say, of that session.
Lewis Hamilton chasing down the 1:21.9 of Romain Grosjean, comes up to the line and crosses it to go onto provisional pole by some distance from the two Hasses. Here's Valtteri Bottas though.
Whoa.
It's a 1:20.5. I don't know about whoa, let's give it the first wow of the season for Valtteri there. It's a new track record obviously, and it's going to certainly open the eyes of those down at Ferrari. Lando Norris with a 1:23.1, 5th fastest. Sebastian Vettel crosses the line, 6/10 down, 3rd fastest for Sebastian Vettel, and his teammate Charles Leclerc tucks in behind him by a couple of tenths. Mercedes have a big advantage. Hamilton puts in a 26.6. That matches what Bottas did on his provisional pole lap.
Yeah, that's 4/10 up on Hamilton's last lap in the first sector, confirming he did run rather wider than I perhaps first thought in turn 1.
And he is a 10th up on this lap on his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who is still behind Lando Norris on the road. So the Mercedes didn't get past the McLaren. Hamilton is 4/100ths of a second off pole time as he heads through that middle sector and onwards towards the final part of the lap where you hope you've got some grip left in those tyres. Valtteri Bottas, though, still going well behind him, but 2/10 down, and it is a fine extra pace if he's to challenge Hamilton's lap that we're watching now. Bottas in provisional pole. Lewis Hamilton is going for a 6th consecutive pole here at Albert Park. Can he make it as he crosses the line now? And he does by a 10th of a second. Hamilton once again is on pole. Lando Norris will be next across the line, goes 8th fastest overall. Can Valtteri Bottas challenge his teammate and start the season in style? No, he can't. He's 2/10 off. Hamilton has done it. It is a record equaling 8 pole positions happens at a single track unless Ferrari can do something about it. And here comes Charles Leclerc now, personal best in the middle sector for him. Leclerc crosses the line, stays on the second row. Ferrari a second off. Sebastian Vettel crosses the line now, and he is on the second row too, 7/10 down on the two Mercedes. Kimi Räikkönen will cross the line, 9th fastest. Max Verstappen, he's been on the front row before, can he make it again? He's on the second row, and he is ahead of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, and that for Red Bull is a decent result compared to their form from last year when it came to qualifying. But for Lewis Hamilton, it's the result that he has shown so often in the past. 6 consecutive pole positions here at Albert Park. He starts the Australian Grand Prix from the #1 spot once again.
That's it. Well done, mate. Oh, that was a tense session, but yeah, finally there. So that's a front row lockout.
And it's the two Mercedes on the front row, and Red Bull coming to rather spoil Ferrari's day even more by getting Max Verstappen onto that second row. What can he do? Romain Grosjean starts 6th for Haas, ahead of Kevin Magnussen. Lando Norris starts his first Grand Prix in 8th, ahead of Raikkonen and Perez.